Grassroots Sessions.
You call it cooling, we call it killing. We can see the blood just spilling. We are here to witness and to rescue all your victims. 'Cause you keep on playing those bloodthirsty, dirty games. Back on the hunt now, don't be a cunt now, leave them baby foxes alone. Leave them baby foxes alone. Back on the hunt now, don't be a cunt now, leave them baby foxes alone. Leave them baby foxes alone. Yeah. In my country they killed all the wolves and the boys and the rabbits and the badgers are cold. There is nowhere to run for the wild animals. Nowhere to run for the wild animals. Hey! Woo! Come on, hey, 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 tally, 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 red coat thing we don't know you're cold, tally, tally, red coat thing we don't know. When a fox is seen and a huntman screams, was a pack of bloodhounds to attack, but not seem like he's on the attack. But the fact of the matter is we feel the attack, but I see about that, yeah. Yes, we'll see you in court, even though you're above the law. 'Cause your brother's in a house of laws, and you call room, but it's just been more. Hey, hey, yeah, hey, 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 hey. Come on, 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 come on. You call it slaughter, we call it torture. We can hear their sons and daughters. We are here to witness and to rescue all your victims. 'Cause people keep eating the bodies of slaughtered slaves. Back on your plane now, who you gonna blame now? Leave them baby piglets alone. Leave them baby piglets alone. Yeah. Back on the plane now, who you gonna blame now? Leave them baby piglets alone. Leave them baby piglets alone. They blame bovine TB on all the badges, the way your morals are killing the badges, not knowing what's going on for so long. Unstab a turkey, the front line strong. Hey! You're not a baby, why are you craving milk of another mother mammal? Milk of another mother mammal. And you're not a baby, why are you craving milk of another mother mammal? Milk of another mother mammal. You're not a baby, why are you craving milk of another mother mammal? Milk of another mother mammal. Yeah, yeah. And you're not a baby, why are you craving milk of another mother mammal? Milk of another mother mammal. Hey!
Hello, beautiful beings. Thank you for joining us for Grassroots Sessions.
Thank you so much to our amazing patrons for making these videos possible. We love you so much.
Thank you
And
so
if you
much.
would like to become a patron of this channel, please check out the links below. And if you enjoyed this song and this video, please pop a quid in our virtual hat via the link below. Every pound helps.
Does. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this song is called Foxtrot Tally Hoedown, and it was a collaboration between Katie and I. We wrote it around the piano in our home in Hebden Bridge, where we lived before we went full-time nomadic in this beautiful nomadic home. And yeah, so it's a song that's very close to our hearts. It combines the hunt saboteur movement with the animal save movement.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, the hunt saboteurs are the ones who are protecting the wildlife in England and Wales and all across the world, in fact. And the Animal Save movement are the groups who are going to witness the animals who are on their way or arriving to slaughterhouses. They are bearing witness to these victims, and we are just so proud of both of these incredible movements. They are wonderful and so inspiring to us.
There's a really interesting distinction between the two groups in the sense that the hunt saboteurs are trying to stop illegal hunting. So the hunting of foxes on horseback with dogs, which is a practice that's been going on since the 16th century. But it was outlawed in 2005.
In England and Wales.
And the hunt sabs are going to disrupt the illegal hunts that continue to happen. And they're filming it, and they are really putting themselves at risk because these people who are involved in the hunting are quite happy to be violent because they are usually from very wealthy families who don't necessarily have to suffer the consequences of the law in the same way that a lot of the hunt sabs do have to, are brought charges against them, usually for trespass and things like this. But the distinction there is that the Animal Save movement is the animals that are being sent to slaughter by the thousands. It's totally legal to do that in the UK.
Millions.
By the millions. 84 million chickens every single month are slaughtered in UK slaughterhouses every month. And we've been to some animal saves where people essentially stand and they wait for the trucks to arrive. They bear witness to these animals. They stand in protest and to say we don't agree with this. They take photos, they share it on social media, and they try and inform people what's going on with these animals so that we may all boycott this industry together. The collective boycott of this industry is called veganism. Vegans boycott the animal industries by not funding them and by standing against the violence to animals in that way.
The song is inspired by our own friends who are involved in both of these movements. They're just so brave, so courageous, and we are so proud of the Hunt Sabs and the Animal Save movement. And the Hunt Sabs especially are out there getting hit in the face because they're in the middle of the wild. So all of a sudden aristocrats in their red coats will be like, you are trespassing, and check the footage out on YouTube. There's so many hunt saboteur groups who've managed to capture the attacks that they've suffered, and these aristocrats will just begin to hit them with their whips that they hit their horses with. Another atrocity of the hunting movement is the fact that these horses are being used to do the hunting, and packs of dogs are being used, beautiful dogs and beautiful
and it's
horses.
Totally illegal as well, and they continue to do it. And they say that they're actually doing they're just following a trail, but there's so much footage of them actually hunting foxes, killing foxes.
It's obvious.
It's absolutely atrocious. And
the Hunt Sabs have done an incredible job of capturing that footage, of doing, we get messages from them saying they've been doing 14-hour days, 16-hour days out there trying to protect the badgers, trying to protect the foxes, trying to protect the beautiful birds that are being hunted, and we're just so proud of them all. And if any Hunt Sabs are watching, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And also to the Animal Save movement.
Yes,
what an incredible movement to go and bear witness to the animal holocaust, which is a very divisive term because we don't want to undermine the human holocausts that have happened throughout history. But
the word holocaust means slaughter on a mass scale, and that's very much what's happening to animals in our world today. Like, more animals than you could even comprehend in your mind are being sent on these trucks into gas chambers. Pigs in the UK, they're sent in trucks into gas chambers. Absolutely disgusting what happens to pigs in the UK, and most of them never see daylight. They live their lives in factory farms, and the Animal Save movement is really raising awareness of this, sharing pictures on social media of how animals are kept. There's a film that you can watch on YouTube called Land of Hope and Glory, and it documents the lives of animals inside UK slaughterhouses. Lots of people think that animal welfare standards in the UK are really high, and they don't realise the atrocities that all animals have to face when they go into a slaughterhouse, whether the animal's been raised on an organic farm or a free range farm. They all end up in the slaughterhouse, including the cows that have been used for milk and the chickens that have been used for egg laying. They all end up in these slaughterhouses, and they're absolutely disgusting. We really don't think that anyone would want to fund these industries. So very much, I think the song's very clever because most people would disagree with fox hunting. Most people we know,
and that's how it starts.
they're really against fox hunting. So the line, back on the hunt now, don't be a cunt now. That
She wrote that.
I'm sorry about writing
It's
that.
a banging line.
We do know the true origins of the word cunt and how it was originally
Goddess cunty.
a beautiful word associated with the goddess, and we know that the word cunt is a magnificent thing, and yes, but most people know the word cunt as a negative, and the rhyme is just so good.
We're brought up in the north of England.
Yeah.
It's like, stop being a cunt.
Yeah.
And
the Viva podcast was not able to play our song because of that word.
it's also used by the Hunt Sabs because it rhymes with Hunt. So, you know, like, we're using the common lexicon there.
Alex juxtaposed that with the lyric that comes in the next verse about the animal save movement, which is back on your plate now. Who you gonna blame now? Leave them baby piglets alone, because everyone we know is willing to stand up for foxes and for wildlife, but when it comes to the food on your plate, people are very much easy to justify the fact that they think pigs are treated nicely and they had a happy life, which is totally not true. Pigs, cows, all of the mammals, all the birds, they're essentially children. None of them make it to adulthood before they're slaughtered. They kill them when they're young, and they're very, very intelligent, sentient beings. They feel pain, they have brains, they have eyes, they can see, they see what's going on to the...
Pigs are more intelligent than dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're against what they do to dogs in China, then you should be against what they do to pigs in the UK.
And there's been incredible amounts of scientific research done now into the benefits of a whole food plant-based diet.
We've got 70 billion farmed animals being farmed on our earth. That doesn't even include the sea life, the marine life. If you include that, that's trillions. But of the land animals that they're breeding, 70 billion. Imagine how many mouths they have to feed and how much food they have to grow to feed them animals. If we were just growing food to feed humans, it would free up so much land. And another thing that a lot of people, you know, may find uncomfortable with this topic is that they believe that humans need to eat animals to live healthy lives. Well, that used to be a commonly held belief, but as Alex says, the science is now there to show us that a whole food plant-based diet is suitable for all stages of life. We can not only survive, but we can thrive.
And that's an amazing thing to celebrate, because veganism, it predates written text. If you look into Jainism and Hinduism, ahimsa is at the core of their belief systems. Ahimsa means non-violence, and so it was a spiritual belief, it was a spiritual practice. But now today we've actually got the science to prove that you can flourish on a plant-based diet, and that's an amazing thing. Veganism means to prevent as much harm as is practicable to animals. Like, we're not saying that humans and animals are ethically and morally the same.
Veganism as a boycott movement is nothing to do with health. It's actually to do with animal rights. And as a boycott movement, people choose not to fund animal industries because of the just because of the abhorrent nature of it.
But I think it's important that people know that that isn't to the detriment of ourselves. That isn't to the detriment of our children and our children's children. We are all going to flourish the more wiser we become with the plant-based whole food diet. That runs alongside the ethics, which came first for us. We went vegan 8 years ago before we had children, and that was literally because all of a sudden there was a boom of footage on YouTube of slaughterhouses. The incredible animal save movement, Hunt Sab movement, and all the other animal rights activists had been getting into the slaughterhouses and showing us this footage, and it is atrocious. If you're against war, if you're against any sort of violence, then you must align that moral and ethic with the way we treat animals.
And with the rise of this technology that we have, these cameras on our phones, people like the Hunt Sabs have been going and filming the hunts, and like Alex says, putting it on YouTube, and people have been going into slaughterhouses and filming what's going on in there. And no more do we have to have this lovely image in our head of how humanely animals are killed, because we can see right there on the screen how these animals are killed by the millions. You can't do it humanely by the millions.
And then, you know, we draw the song to a conclusion with "You're not a baby, why are you craving milk of another mother mammal?" which was amazing when that came through at the piano. And it was just, you know, it's seeing Katie do the breastfeeding for our children. It's like this really brought to our attention the importance of milk in an infancy. And
for children, milk is for babies. For all mammals, the babies drink the milk, and when we grow up, we eat food.
At the heart of it is literally the ethics and the morals. Animals suffer, and we cannot ignore that anymore. Just like we cannot ignore that humans suffer, and no human on this planet should be made to suffer. You know, people argue that suffering is what causes us to learn. That's fair dues. You know, people have their own emotional suffering and their own inevitable death, their own natural death. But we We've established the rights for all human beings to have the freedom to not be attacked, not to be caged, not to be imprisoned, not to be forced into some sort of slave labour. And although that's probably still happening, unfortunately, we all disagree with that. But what we don't agree on yet as a species is that animals shouldn't suffer that same torture and slavery, and that is why it's such a important topic, and one that will advance all of our morals and ethics.
And I think it was important for us as a festival band. We do a lot of creating music and dancing with people at festivals and creating this really joyous vibration. We watch a lot of bands create this joyous vibration where we all dance together, and we just wanted there to be a message behind what we're singing about when we're doing that. You know, we're singing in celebration of these amazing movements that are compassionate towards animals, and we recognise that animals feel and suffer in pain. These topics are really hard to sing about, and if we can sing about them in an uplifting and vibrant and exciting way, then we can all dance together and celebrate together with no judgment in our hearts. You know, we have funded these industries for all of our lives, and we don't have judgment in our hearts. We really want to move together towards more non-violence to all beings.
We do.
And I think interestingly the two movements are interesting because on one hand you've got the foxes and the wildlife, and on the other hand you've got these domesticated animals. And what's interesting about that is that some people think, you know, if we don't eat animals then there'll be no animals left, but what they don't realise is that the animals are being bred, they're being made pregnant repeatedly,
artificially inseminated,
and the
it's a form of rape.
Babies born into slavery, and then essentially they're perpetuating the system. They keep on breeding millions of animals, and we don't necessarily have to keep doing that. Whereas the foxes are a different situation. They've got natural breeding cycles, and they're being hunted towards extinction. There's two separate issues going on, but both in rooted in animal rights and in human rights.
Unfortunately, there are foxes bred and then let out as well. It's just an abhorrent situation, and when the sooner humans accept that and take the moral high ground, the better for us all. We really hope that this can inspire conversation and debate, and we've really enjoyed the challenge of trying to put these very difficult topics into a festival upbeat sound. We
really hope we get a chance to perform this song at Vegan Camp Out 2021.
Yes, guys,
we really hope that festival still goes ahead, and we look forward to sharing the festival vibrations with you all again soon.
And we've really enjoyed performing songs like this at non-vegan events and to people who aren't vegan yet, and seeing such a warm positive response. Even families coming up saying we're all going to try veganism now, inspired by these songs. And so it's we're literally in awe of all the work that the activists have been doing. We're going to link as many activist groups beneath this video as possible, that and please support them. They all need your funding. They need it more than we do, and we're just so grateful that our children and our children's children are moving into a more positive and harmonious world for everyone.
Thank you so much for tuning into this grassroots session, guys. We really hope you enjoyed it. Please let us know in the comments below if you have any questions about the song, and if you enjoyed the song, please pop a quid in our virtual hat. Please consider becoming a Patreon via the links below, and we'll see you next time. Mwah.
Grassroots Sessions is made possible by our wonderful patrons who support us on Patreon. Thank you so much to all of you beautiful beings.
Please join our Patreon today to help us create more videos. Donations are also very welcome here.